Welcome to the first episode of the 2019-2020 season of Raidertown Rundown. I'm David Schulman.
And I'm Ben Friedman.
Now let's get right into the news. At a town meeting last week, residents voiced concern about a possible relocation of the town's municipal building, along with the fire and police departments. The town proposed details about a plan to move the municipal court from its current location on Park Avenue to Plainfield Avenue, about 5 minutes down the road. When all was said and done, Deputy Mayor Josh Lusardo said that the Downtown Redevelopment Committee is months away from discussing the final plans, and that both him and Mayor Al Smith will be at the next committee meeting to further discuss the possibilities of relocation. There are many pros and cons to this proposed plan, but we have some time to breathe before anything becomes official.
For those looking for an easy trip to New York City this winter, you are in luck. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy announced that direct, off-peak, midday train service on the Raritan Valley Line to New York Penn Station will be restored in November, being eliminated in September of 2018 due to a lack of sufficient staffing and equipment. This program will allow riders to take a Raritan Valley train directly into the city from their stop without needing to change trains at another station. Over 23,000 train riders will now be able to sit back and relax on their commute, leaving the former headaches and hassles in the past.
Well, now that the month of September and October have passed, we can now enjoy the memories that have come from Scotch Plains Day. With the plethora of options that the fair has to offer, we at Raidertown Rundown were able to experience some of the joys that were at this fair. Here's Ben Friedman with more.
Hello everyone and welcome to Scotch Plains Day 2019. For Raidertown Rundown, I am Ben Friedman here at the beautiful Allen M. Augustine Park on Park Ave in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Sun may not be out, but it is a beautiful day to see what this fair has to offer. We're going to walk around, interview a few people, and see what's going on this year. So let's take a look. And that is just a sampling of everything that Scotch Plains Day has to offer. But you should really come down here and check it out for yourself. Now, however, if you missed this year's fair, don't worry. It comes around back on Park Avenue every year like clockwork, every September. So maybe come down, check it out. I mean, you can even meet Batman. See, Batman's right over there. So come on down, check it out. You're going to have a great time. Anyway, let's kick it back to the studio here at Scotch Plains Day for Raider News. I'm Ben Friedman. If you're planning on hitting the links at Ashbrook Golf Course, then you better bring your coyote repellent. You heard that right, folks. A large coyote weighing in at over 50 pounds was sighted on the fairway just a few short months ago. This canine is wild and very dangerous, so we advise that if you see it, then you stay away at all costs. We also advise that you never feed a coyote, bring your pets in at night, and whatever you do, don't do this.
Ready to blow?
Ow! Ow! What is this?
Coyote trap, dude.
Ah, this hurts!
We ask that you stay safe and stay alert. The Board of Ed this month was in the middle of a huge controversy that can affect transportation for all students. Let's go now to Mason Glod with the extended Board of Ed Minute.
The Board of Education had an eventful meeting on October 29th. The meeting started in Evergreen Elementary, where Mr. Miller and the board honored the gymnastics team and girls tennis team for their tremendous seasons. Then, the meeting migrated to the boardroom, where a presentation was given about last year's standardized test scores. It soon became apparent that this was no ordinary meeting. A group of parents in a Terrell neighborhood attended the meeting to voice their frustration with the cancellation of their children's bus line. Basically, the district recently repaired the back path at Terrell Middle School. Because of this repair, state guidelines now classify this path as a viable entrance to the school. Due to board guidelines, the T5 and T6 routes are now too close to the school to provide busing. The school board presented a statement before public comments, where multiple parents voiced their concern, before finally Mayor Al Smith and Police Chief Ted Conley commented on the situation. This issue will likely persist for the rest of the year, and I will update you with new developments as they come.
This month, the Scotch Plains Fanwood School District paired up with the mayors of Fanwood and East Brunswick to discuss the dangers of vaping. With experts and victims, here are some highlights.
So I'm here today with the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mass, and Mrs. Nodell Gordon, who helped create the vaping seminar today. Now, can you just give us a quick description of, what went down, what we did today?
Yes, we actually executed an idea that came to us from Mayor Marr, the mayor of Fanwood. She had a connection with Mayor Cohen, who is the mayor of East Brunswick. And Mayor Cohen had been close to a vaping crisis with his cousin, who is here today to speak about the dangers of vaping. So we met early in the fall. I think we met back in September to plan when we could have these experts on vaping and the dangers come to speak to our students.
And I'm here today to talk to you about something that as a mother and also as a mayor is weighing on my mind. And when I started to think about what was going on with the vaping, what really motivated me to reach out to the superintendent was the seriousness of the conversation, the deaths that were happening across the country. And I just thought that there was a moment in time where we could do something different, which is what this morning is about. This morning is about something that hasn't been done before, where you bring in a mayor, you bring in the superintendent, you talk amongst yourselves collaboratively. We have students, athletes, we've got academics, we've got your teachers, we've got your coaches. We're live streaming this out so that more people can understand why we're doing this morning. Because we believe there's a responsibility to your health and to your well-being. And we believe that there's a conversation that has to be had. It's important, it's serious, and it's timely.
All right. And what was the message that you wanted to try and give the students with the program today?
I really wanted the students to hear that vaping is dangerous beyond what we are knowledgeable of, that we know a lot about cigarette smoking and how cigarette smoking damages people's health in the long run. What we're learning is vaping can cause damage, permanent damage, almost instantaneously. And we had a young woman with us today who spoke to how she had a near-death experience as a result of vaping. So I just really wanted our students to know that they need to monitor each other. I know that our students care about their friends and that we want to come together to protect each other.
So I am one to share my story. I've made a bad decision and I've learned from it, and I want to share it with you guys. So I've been vaping, using the Juul for 3 years. It was when it first came out. I was actually smoking cigarettes, and I heard that the Juul was an alternative to help quit smoking cigarettes. So I decided to take that on as one of the bad habits that it is. And I always heard about people quitting them because it wasn't making them feel right, and I actually noticed that right before I got sick, I was always crampy, all the cramps that were in my whole body weren't coming out, I was always just so tight and tense, and so after the 3 years of smoking, it happened actually September 4th, I started losing my appetite, and for the 3 days that happened, I lost 30 pounds. I wasn't eating, drinking, all I was doing was drooling because that's, sometimes nicotine just takes over your body. You don't want to do anything else other than smoke the nicotine. So it got to a point where I really couldn't take anything into my body but that, and I started coughing and not being able to move. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to hang out with my friends. I really didn't want to do anything.
All right, and finally, do you see more seminars like this, maybe not just for vaping, but more educational-based seminars here in the Media Center, maybe even the auditorium coming up in the future?
I think when you could bring real experts to the field who have real-world experience, it's much more powerful. So rather than talking about things academically or in the abstract, I much prefer these type of small, intimate symposiums to get the message out there to our community.
So I'm from Prevention Links. That's the substance abuse prevention agency in Union County. And we were lucky enough to get funding from the state to have a youth tobacco action group. And we actually started it right here in Scotch Plains. So with Miss Gordon, we have about 30 students that participate in, fighting against tobacco use. So some of the activities that you may have seen them do. One of them was Kick Butts Day. So in March they had a banner that was, I pledge not to use tobacco products, any tobacco products, and kids around your school were signing it. So some of you may have even signed it. And that was for the National Day of Activism Against Big Tobacco is what Kick Butts Day is for.
I actually graduated medical school many years ago from New Jersey Medical School, which is right in Newark, so it's kind of our backyard here. My wife and I attended and we graduated in 1986. And one of our professors, one of our pathology professors, his name was Dr. Auerbach, lived in Short Hills and taught pathology at New Jersey Medical School, was the individual who was able to link cigarette smoking to lung cancer. That was back in 1964, probably before most of your parents were even born. The way he did that was he actually had dogs smoking, which most of us would say, oh my God. He would give the dogs cigarettes, they would smoke them, and then they would be sacrificed and they would look at the lungs under the microscope. And from that he was able to make that conclusion that smoking was the cause of lung cancer. But what he also discovered was that if you stop smoking, the lungs will heal. And so the concept that that your life isn't over if you stop smoking, you could actually recover.
All right, thank you very much. The mayor of Scotch Plains, Al Smith, met with the Junior Statesman Association of the high school to discuss local issues. Here are some highlights of that meeting.
I'm rather blunt with people who talk to me about this, and they say, well, why are we doing this? Well, I just say, because you, our community, has been found to be in non-compliance with the Constitution of New Jersey, to provide fair housing for all people. That's where this emanates from. It's from our Constitution. It was 1949. The Supreme Court has interpreted that. What happened was then, after that interpretation, there was a body called COA, Coalition on Affordable Council on Affordable Housing, and they, through legislative support, were driving the situation, providing through the first two rounds. Every round is 10 years. You're told how many affordable housing units you require. What happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, it became very political, and both Republicans and Democrats were playing politics. We named the governor, and you find politics that was being played in the legislature the same way. So for 15 years, nothing was done. Then there was another court suit, and then the court came in 2015 and said, all right, all you towns that have these builder remedy suits, I'll explain that in a second, you come in here and you settle those suits. Now, builder's remedy suit is this. So technically, Scotch Plains is not providing its proper number of affordable units. So a builder then is saying, hey, Parker Gardens, you know that Parker Gardens is going to be affordable, it's going to be housing, including affordable housing. That builder goes to Parker Gardens, and Parker Gardens, they're saying, hey, we're tired of doing this, let's sell the property. The property right now is zoned for 1 acre. But if you put affordable housing on there in the form of apartment units with a certain percentage of being affordable, now you might be able to put 20 units per acre there. Suddenly the value of the property goes way high, so that's the incentive for the property owner to deal with the builder. And then the builder goes to court and says, hey, Scotch Plains is not in compliance, and we've got a project here that will help them to get in compliance. So I come wandering through the door in November 2016 after campaigning that, yeah, we need affordable housing, not understanding what I was getting into. And there's a order on there from Judge Cassidy, Superior Court Judge from Union County. And she says, Al, I put it that way, she said mayor, but she says, Al, you're to be in here, now this is November of 16, you're to be here in February 27th in my chambers, and you're going to explain to me how you're going to settle all these affordable housing, because we have 4 suits like this. And didn't know anything about it, started the process, took us 4 years to settle. But we've got now what we think is the best settlement we can get, but the process is broken. The process is broken. Look at these numbers up here. This is just crazy. To get 450 units, the way the builder does that, I'll build you 100 units, you get 15 for affordable housing. To get this, I had to build 2,655 units in Scotch Plains in 7 years. How are you going to do that? Wasn't going to do the school system. So Tom showed you we have an affordable housing advisory committee. Well, we've got 4 pieces of legislation that are currently introduced that we're supporting, that we will hope will bring this back into a more sane process, get it out of the courts, put it back with the legislature, the people who we elect, not the courts. The courts don't get elected by anybody. They get appointed. They're good for life. Get it back into the legislature, get it so that we can get some rules, such as you have to look at the infrastructure. The legislature is going to determine the numbers. I mean, if you watch what's going on across New Jersey right now, there's apartments being built all over the place. You get a feeling that maybe some point somebody's going to say, we don't need all these apartments. All right? Let's get some rational numbers here. And then let's get it to the point that also we can have our input to it. Scotch Plains will say, this is what we think we can do. This is what we think we can manage. So we're going through that process right now. It's very difficult because the way the it's in the court. Everybody, legislators don't want to get involved with this. The governor's happy as pie because everything's getting done. He doesn't know. I mean, I've talked to him. I mean, he doesn't realize what's going on down here, the pain we're going through. I mean, we're going to put up all these apartment units. Where are we going to get the schools? So we're going to have to build more schools. So your parents are going to pay a whole lot more taxes. And Terrell Road. So we put affordable housing on Terrell Road. How many, did any of you go to Terrell Road? Some of you must know. Well, it's like a nightmare in the morning and night. Why would you want to put affordable housing there? Well, because we got sued and somebody said you could do it. So just a little bit of a rant here is that we need affordable housing. I'll be the first to say that. But we need a more rational way to provide it. And what's happening to us right now is not rational. In 2025, they may give me another 454 if I'm still here. 454 units. I got to build another. How many units, housing units, do you think we have in Scotch Plains? 7,500. 7,500. You're gonna increase the population of housing units like 35% in 7 years. Does that make any sense? Just talking about it, that makes no sense. I don't have open fields here. This is not like in the western part of the state, of the more rural parts here, where I got farms that I can take and turn into affordable housing. I don't have that. I don't have any open space. So what's the solution they're going to come back with us next time? Hey, you want to only build 4-story units? Take those 4 stories and make them 10 stories. Well, I guess we can do that, but that's not the way I envision this town. I always thought this town would be more of a suburban type town, not an urban town. So I hope that helped. Any questions on what I just ranted about? Okay, so that's it. We're for it. We're doing it. Downtown redevelopment is on its way, but we're trying to change the process. We have right now, anybody can sign the petition right now. Sure. We have right now, if you go to our website, there is a petition. You can go up there, read the 4 bills we're supporting, and if you feel like, and I would encourage you to take it home to your parents who are directly involved in this and show them, and if they feel comfortable, have them sign the petition. I'm trying to get thousands of signatures on this petition, so next time I go down and see the governor, or next time I go see a legislator, I say, hey, look, people are concerned about this. Because if I go to somebody's office and I talk to them by myself, they're going to say, oh yeah, nice, thank you, Al, and that'll be it. But if they know that their constituents, their voters, concerned, well, we might get something done. So thank you, sir.
Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of the 2019-2020 season of Radar Town Rundown. I'm David Schulman.
I'm Ben Friedman. You stay classy, Scotch Plains.